Lazio 1, Milan 0. A narrow result, but tactically a very clear one. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Boots on the Pitch. In this video, we'll break down the real reasons behind Milan's recent loss, how Lazio's compact structure neutralized Milan, why Milan struggled to create chances despite having possession, and how the game was ultimately decided in transition. Coming into the match, Milan tried to impose control through possession, building play with a structured midfield and using width to progress forward. On the other side, Lazio approached the game with a much more compact and disciplined defensive plan, prioritizing structure over pressure and transitions over possession. From the very beginning, this created a clear tactical contrast, and interestingly, Lazio ended up playing a role that Milan themselves are usually known for: compact, efficient, and deadly in transition. Lazio operated in a compact mid-block, keeping their defensive and midfield lines extremely close together. Their midfield stayed narrow, constantly blocking central passing lanes, while the team shifted as a unit instead of pressing aggressively. A key detail was the back four. Lazio's defensive line remained very compact, with the full-backs rarely stepping out of line. This kept the structure intact at all times and prevented gaps from opening between defenders. Lazio also used their center-forward Maldini in a defensive role, tracking Modric closely and limiting his influence in build-up. The objective was simple: force Milan wide and deny access to the half spaces, and it worked. Milan were consistently pushing into wide areas, where their attacks became easier to deal with. Crosses replaced combinations, and penetration through the middle was almost completely removed. Lazio didn't need to dominate the ball, they controlled where Milan could play. Milan had spells of possession, but possession itself wasn't the problem. The real issue was where that possession was happening. Too much of Milan's play developed on the flanks, with very limited presence between the lines. They struggled to find consistent vertical passes into dangerous central areas, and as a result, their attacks became predictable. Even when Milan circulated the ball well, they couldn't break through Lazio's compact shape. Without access to central zones, the defensive block remained largely untouched. Milan's midfield tried to control the tempo of the game, but Lazio's compactness made forward progression extremely difficult. Another important factor was the absence of Adrien Rabiot. His physical presence, ball-carrying ability, and capacity to break lines would have given Milan an extra option in midfield progression. Without him, Milan lacked a midfielder who could consistently drive forward and disrupt Lazio's compact structure. Passing lanes into attackers were constantly blocked, and the space between the lines was minimal. Lazio's midfield screened central areas so effectively that Milan were often forced to recycle possession rather than advance it. This led to a key imbalance. Milan had control of the ball, but not control of space. The decisive factor came in transition moments. Lazio's approach was simple but highly effective. As soon as they won the ball, they looked forward immediately, attacking quickly before Milan could reorganize. The goal itself came from one of these moments, where Lazio capitalized on the situation with speed and precision. Milan, in contrast, were slower to react after losing possession. Their attacking structure often left them slightly exposed, and they struggled to recover in a compact defensive shape. That difference in transition efficiency ultimately defined the match. At the start of the second half, Milan switched into a 4-3-3 formation in an attempt to increase their presence higher up the pitch and improve their attacking threat. The idea was to push the wingers higher, stretch Lazio's backline, and create more direct options in the final third, especially as they looked to find a way back into the game after going behind. However, the change didn't bring results. Lazio, on the other hand, already leading from the first half, dropped deeper. Their defensive structure stayed compact, with the back four holding their line and the midfield protecting central spaces. As a result, Milan struggled to access the middle, and most of their attack continued to develop out wide. This match wasn't decided by dominance in possession, it was decided by control of space. Lazio stayed compact, denied central access, and punished Milan in transition. Milan, on the other hand, controlled the ball but struggled to penetrate and couldn't convert their possession into clear chances. In many ways, Lazio played like a classic Milan side, disciplined, efficient, and ruthless in key moments. And in the end, that was enough to secure them a 1-0 win. This loss clearly was a blow to Milan's chances to aim for the title. Next week, Milan hosts Torino at San Siro. What do you think? Will Milan be able to come back after this heavy loss? Thanks for watching Boots on the Pitch. See you in the next one.